Okay, so on certain days of the week, I like to clean out the fridge, and today seems like one of those days where I'm gonna make homemade chicken noodle soup because I've got pretty much everything I need for this, including some chicken that I grilled up, salt and peppered on the grill. You can run down the store and get a pre-made chicken that's already cooked and shredded up. This is, again, super easy stuff that you have on hand. I just pulled everything out. I've got some carrots here, celery, sweet onion, garlic I'm gonna dice up. I did buy, but this kind of this soup blend, I've never used this before. So, but it just has everything in it: rosemary, oregano, thyme, and basil. Oh, I'm sorry, bay leaf, not basil, bay leaf. I did have some, actually some really nice parsley still in my refrigerator. Olive oil, salt and pepper. I've got oregano here, and also some chicken stock that we're going to be using, and it's going to be that simple. So let's just get started by chopping everything up, washing everything, and making sure it's all ready to go. Okay, so we're going to start by a couple tablespoons of olive oil, and we're going to heat that up a little bit. I've already chopped up the onion, I got the garlic here, and sliced up and diced up the, actually just sliced up the carrots and celery. And so I kind of like them, a little bit bigger chunks, something meatier for your salad, for your soup. And I don't remember if I mentioned, but also part of the ingredients, you want the egg white, the egg noodles, and we're going to use about 12 ounces of those. So I have a couple of bags of those. I don't think there's anything that smells better than onions cooking in oil. And so if you really want to know a trick and a tip, if your mate is coming home and you want dinner to be, cooking, just throw in some onions and some oil. And I'm actually going to salt and pepper this real quick too. And, oh man, it smells so good. Okay, so I'll get that going and then stir that up a little bit, and then I'll add in the rest of the vegetables. Okay, so I've added the celery and carrots to the onions, and I've let that cook for about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm going to add in the garlic. That's about tablespoons. Sorry. This is all pretty much done by sight or what I have on hand. So I did 3 medium-sized carrots. I did 3 celery stalks, 3 cloves of garlic that I just kind of minced up, and then I'm going to saute that up just for another minute or so, and then I'm going to add 8 cups of the chicken stock, and earlier I just had the one carton out, but you need 2 for this recipe. Add that in, and I'm going to add a second one in. And then I'm going to go to my herbs. Just did some unboxing of this, this soup blend herb box I have these fresh bay leaves. Oh my goodness. I usually always use dry, but I'm just going to throw those in. And then I've got this thyme, and it's a little bit heartier than the thyme that I have here from my, that I've been using all week for my pastas, dishes, and stuff like that. So I'm definitely going to use this because, of course, the soup's going to simmer for a while. So I'll strip this and put that in there. And then they also have fresh oregano. Even though I had the dry, I was planning to put in the dry oregano, but I'm thinking about, I'm just going to use this. And this recipe doesn't call for rosemary, but I'm definitely going to put it in because I think rosemary with chicken always works great. And then, oops, a little bit later, I'm going to throw in some parsley. Okay, so I sort of stripped the thyme here, and I'm going to just add that in. I've already peppered, did some ground pepper in there. And then I've got so the oregano that I chopped up, and then also with the rosemary, as you can see, I kind of loosely chopped that up, and I'm going to just toss that in as well. Okay, so I have all my herbs in place here. I'm just going to give it a stir. Okay, and I'm going to let that go for another 5 minutes or so until the vegetables are, get a little bit fork tender, and that's pretty much on medium heat right now. It's bringing everything to a boil. In the meantime, I'm going to chop up my chicken. Okay, so that's been going for about 5 minutes, and next up is the egg noodles. I'm going to add in basically a bag and a half. About 12 ounces, maybe even a little bit more. I like the noodle part of the chicken noodle. Now, if it looks a little thick to you, you can add more chicken broth, or you can add like a cup of water. I might be adding something here because I do want, because the noodles will soak up some of this broth, so I might actually add a little bit more broth to this. Okay, so while that's simmering, I'm actually going to add in another couple of cups. I definitely want to have it a little bit more soupier than solids, and I still haven't added in the chicken yet, so I'm going to let this go for another 10 minutes. Okay, so that's been going for about 10 minutes, and as you can see, the noodles really, got bigger in that time, kind of soaked up all that juice. So I'm glad I added an extra couple of cups of the broth. I'm just going to turn that down just a smidgen. And diced up the chicken and a lot of parsley. I'm going to add that in, and I'm just going to, warm it through and pretty much serve it up after that. Okay, I just added all that in and just kind of hiding the chicken a little bit. And I'm going to stir that up. And the best part about this is, as it was all simmering and everything, I already cleaned up. I already have, basically gotten ready to So just looking at this, I'm thinking probably could have used more chicken, but that's all I had on hand. I'm just going to try to get that down there and heat it through. But I do love the noodle part of that chicken noodle soup. And there you go, homemade chicken noodle soup, and lunch is served.